Grimdark, Ohio. Another day of the Vlog-a-day till CincyCon. I think today I'm going to talk about missions, which are just right now some note cards. Kind of the way things go right now, with everything being, early playtest, trying to keep things simple. There's going to be some things that I know will for sure change through more playtesting, and as kind of the core of the game gets really buttoned up and tightened up, and all the fun tweaking and tuning happens. Uh, Missions and the objectives, how they're going to play, will be something that will adjust, I'm sure. But right now there are six missions. Of the six, we play five. There's one that's a mode that's kind of hasn't been tuned well enough yet, so we stick most of the testing to those five. But the way it works, before a game begins, each player has three of these cards. So offense, defense, utility, just like the core stats on all the models' cards. And those determine kind of the way the missions play. So both players pick one of those hidden to the other player, and then they reveal them, and the combination determines the mission. So, for example, if both players picked offense, it is a all offense mission, right? uh, Basically, it's I think right now it's called firefight, and it's just who can incapacitate the most models, points, the total, most value, the total points by the end of the game. I can't remember all of them, so I've got like my little, notebook here with them. But double defense is a very defensive game mode. I think that one's called, it's lockdown. And that one you control objectives. So there'll be a couple that gets laid out, that gets determined after the mission is determined by the D6, and that'll determine how many there are and kind of the layout of them. And then double utility is research. So research also has objectives that get distributed on the map, but those ones you have to interact with them. So utility models and utility minded players, factions, yada yada. That's your thing, right? Because the way interacted objectives work with the game, that you don't like pick up like an objective marker, but just like like the terminals. Yeah, I'm sitting over there somewhere. They're too far behind me, but like those terminals that I've shown, it works just like the attack. So you'll have to figure out who has any advantages. Will be models that like are kind of hacker type models where their thing is getting objectives and they get advantage and things like that. But for the most part, it is the standard suite of things. So if you are going to take an objective and there's somebody right there, you're engaged. An engaged model has a disadvantage. As of right now, that's really the only thing that affects it. So you're pretty much rolling on either 2 or 1 die, depending on if you're neutral or disadvantaged. There will be things, like I said, later on that affect that more. But you roll, and then your utility stat determines a success. So how many successes you get, and then basically that number locks that objective until your opponent can meet or beat that number. So models that are better at it uh, will be, they'll have more successes, and it makes it easier for you to lock out objectives from your opponent. The combination of offense and defense right now is called domination. So it's similar to lockdown, but instead of individual objectives that you have to control by being around it, there's zones. So the map gets split into 2 or 4 chunks. I think that's right. Yeah. And the deployment's a little different for this one. And yeah, you're basically trying to control your zones and then go and invade the opponent's zones, and it's kind of like a firefight, but you're also trying to just have the most models in an area. So it's kind of a mixture of offense and defense. Uh, Defense and utility is something right now called loot run. So again, there's objectives on the map, but these ones, when you interact with them, you pick them up. There is no roll or anything like that. You just go, you interact, you pick them up. And once that gets determined, you roll to see how many of those objectives, or so there's always 5, sorry. You roll to see what the layout of the placement for those objectives are. The last one, which is a combination of utility and offense, when those 2 cards are picked by opponents, is called the hunt. Currently, haven't played with it a lot, but that one, just like some of the other ones where you roll, you'll roll to determine if it's basically a single large target, or let's say, yeah, there's 5 smaller targets, and yeah, it's whoever can take out the big beastie, the big baddie, or all the little ones. So they could be, robots, they can be, some kind of big alien, whatever have you. And scoring for the larger single one is just who deals more of the health damage to it. You keep track of health damage dealt. And then the smaller one, since there's 5, it's whoever deals more, kills more of them, sorry, incapacitates more, not deals more damage. So as of right now, that's the 6 missions that are laid out, along with, how they kind of work. Something that my sons and I do when we're playtesting is we do something called Double Down, where Double Down, you use the cards, you figure out what like one of the missions is going to be, and then you do it a second time. So there's 2 different missions like overlapped on each other. That feels pretty good right now. I think as this game gets closer to like a buttoned up finished product, whether that's when a publisher comes along and is like, hey, like what you're doing, we'll help you get out there, or if it's a longer term thing where it's me bouncing this off people in the community and local game stores and that I've met through the different social media of the company. But either way, whether it's a shorter or a longer road, eventually my plan is that in addition to the 6, there'll be some kind of like a seasonal or like a yearly mission pack, which can kind of have a whole theme to it, So I have the idea for, themes for releases of, the different years. Right now, everything's pretty much just trying to like distribute a good taste of what some of the themes and like what different factions would look like, and some of all that stuff with the game, with the universe, and then subsequent years, whether that begins in November for one calendar year of releases, or that begins in January by like extending this first year. Um, I haven't decided, but when year 2 comes along, that'll be essentially themed. So there will be additional missions tied in with that, and it'll probably be a matter of like a roll on a table of 6. So you'll have one of these plus the themed mission, um, which would be kind of similar to the double down. You know, it's like anything else. It's a hobby game. If players don't want the keeping track of all the stuff, they can just say, hey, we're just going to play one mission. We're just going to do firefight and just beat each other up and see who can take out more models. But not every faction is going to be the best at that. Some factions excel at running up and taking objectives. Some factions are just really hard to kill. They don't have a ton of damage output, and they're really good at those kind of control and like have different like the domination and lockdown. Specifically, the Vase and the Iterax are really good at that because they're hard to kill, and her models are worth more than most of the other models. So as long as they can kind of pick off like one or two of your opponent's models that are in relative size, they have a pretty big leg up there. Yeah, so that's just kind of a quick rundown of roughly how the missions work in the game. I like it. I think it's kind of a cool system. There's a little bit of cat and mouse there because if you know, hey, this opponent is playing, whatever faction, they're gonna be really good at beating me up. This way, you can kind of like try to game it, pick accordingly. Um, and yeah, I think it's kind of a neat way of doing that. But last thing before we call it for the night for the video, I was able to print this massive guy out. This is Malgora, who is the largest model for year 1, and it is the second Iterax character that's a test print. Came out really well. Pretty happy with it. But yeah, it'll be a ways before he gets released, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm just trying to show things off as things get done, whether they're sculpts, different things about the game. So just wanted to share that as well. So till tomorrow.